Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this special video showcase I'm going to be doing a top 5. Now this isn't going to be a standard or typical top 5, it's not going to be my top 5 favourites, my top 5 of the year, whatever. I am going to do some of them, I'm going to get around to them as soon as I can, but this is for subscriber, and I hope I'm saying this right, Hasib Delifero, and he basically wanted sort of some stories on where I got some figures from. So what I thought I'd do, I thought I'd turn it a little bit on its head, make it a little bit fun as well. Rather than just, the board, I got this off eBay, got that off eBay, etc. I mean, a couple of them may be eBay, but there's a little bit of a twist to it. So these are the top 5 figures, which I think have got quite an interesting story to them, or maybe a silly story. Yeah, let's see what you think anyway, so slightly different. So what we're going to do, we're going to go down in numerical order, and number 5, and I've got it here, so say just to know which order it is, and make sure I'm saying everything right, is Bumble Jumper. And he's a great figure, and this is another one that I perhaps didn't think I'd ever get to own. I didn't know exactly how scarce it was. I knew it was a rare figure. I'd had that Mark Bellarmo book for some time by now, and I never even thought I'd see this, and I don't know why I never went to conventions or anything like that. I just maybe didn't have the time. But the main reason I've got Bumble Jumper, and I'm checking here now because I'm looking back, so we're going back to literally October 2011, and at that particular time I was pretty much buying loads of stuff, as you do, and I brought Action Master, not Action Master, what am I talking about? Alternator Rumble from eBay, because that was the other line that I know you probably haven't even seen them, but I've got pretty much all the vinyl tech and alternators behind things, but really wanted this figure, really wanted it, and there's a guy I brought it off, and absolutely lovely chap. His name was, funnily enough, his name was Dave the Rave, and but he just sold me this on eBay, funnily enough, and it was just in a box, and it looks really good. It said mint in box, it looked brilliant, but then because I wanted to display it, especially in the robot mode, which I really like, so I took it out of the box, and as soon as I took it out of the box, for you avid Hawkeye people there, you'll notice that there's a bumper missing there, and literally this bumper just fell straight off. It just fell straight off, and so I emailed him back, and he was devastated. He's like, and to be fair, I've got so many figures as well that I've brought over the years and just never took them out of the package and just left them. So he was devastated. I sent him pictures, and he was really sorry. So we started chatting, and he obviously offered to give me a partial refund and stuff. And he just said, "Is there anything else you're interested in?" And I says, "Yeah, well, what have you got?" And then he sent me a few pictures, and I ended up trundling all the way down. It was before Christmas, so it wouldn't have been much longer after this. It would have probably been November, the week or so later. I think it was somewhere near Tottenham in London, which is a good, 2.5, maybe 3 hours from my house. And I brought a couple more of his alternators, vinyl techs, and a few things like that. And then lo and behold, Bumble Jumper was there. It was just sitting on the side, and he'd pretty much sold most of his G1 by then anyway. So yeah, I ended up getting this, and luckily, because it was obviously over 10 years ago now, it wasn't that expensive either, but pure fluke. So absolutely pure fluke. Ended up, how can you go from buying an alternator to end up getting Bumble Jumper? But that's one that I did. So there you go. That's hopefully it's interesting, but there you go. Right, this is where they get. I suppose this can be sort of quite silly. We've got. I'm going to go with this guy next, and what I've got with a couple of these is pretty much some of you know the Omega Supreme story. But I'm going to go with this one first, and this is Drift, but it's not just Drift, it's the fact that I think there were 6 Voyager figures, and we're going back to 2015, and I was in New York with my wife, and I wasn't buying any movie figures then. I'd done with the movie figures. Yeah, A, due to space, B, they were getting worse, let's be honest, but the toys were quite cool, and we were in New York, and yeah, it was definitely no, it wasn't. It was 2014, because my little boy was born in 2015. It was 2014, and yeah, we'd booked an excursion to go to one of their, I suppose in English terms it'd be like an outlet mall or whatever it is, but it was just outside New York, and they had a Toys R Us there, and they had, I suppose it was like a discount village. I'm not sure of the American term, I'm so sorry, but like an outlet discount place like that. And again, I hadn't brought any of these Movie 4 figures, but we got on the coach, and we're given by the what's the person who calls? I suppose the organizer, rep. That'll do. The representative. She gives us this voucher book, and there was loads of vouchers for Toys R Us. And of course, I walked in there, and these were all in there. and these are the Voyager figures, and they were reduced like literally crazy prices. I think they were down to $15, and then with the fact that with the vouchers or the coupons that I had with them, they were down to like $10, and it was just, yeah, it was too good opportunity to turn down. So I ended up buying 4, maybe 6 of them, maybe all 6 there and then, bang, on the spot. Totally not planned. Didn't want them beforehand, but you know, as I say, for that price, you couldn't turn it down. So, but then the reason why there's 2 is, even ironically enough, we couldn't fit them in the suitcase anywhere. We crammed them all in just about, but then my favourite one, ironically enough, and I've got 2 now, you can see, was because I cracked the packaging on the shipping over. It wasn't planned, so we didn't actually have space in the case. So at number 4, it will be the Voyager figures from movie 4, and yeah, that's Toys R Us's fault. So we're going to move along, and I'm going to go to now number 3, and I'm going to use the Omega Supreme. And again, for those of you who've not seen my Omega Supreme video, the reason why this guy's up here is, again, this is perhaps another figure that I didn't think I'd ever see or own, because he never came out in the UK. Yeah, me and my wife, again, before she was my wife, was she 2011? No, yeah, before we got married, so she was my fiance at the time. We went to Las Vegas, and we were on a just out as you do, and we said, let's go to Freeman Street. And I don't think it's still there, because I've tried to email them, I've tried to get hold of them. I think the same guy was in the Porn Stars show in America, to be honest. And it was a toy shop literally at the bottom of Freeman Street, and they had it's got the box. You've seen the box in the video, and the box of that was yeah, it was there for sale, and I just was like, oh, instantly. Never seen a boxed Omega Supreme, never seen a loose Omega Supreme back in 2011, definitely 2011. So I'd never seen one by then at all. So yeah, I had to I had to buy him there and then. And of course, the Omega Supreme box it's rather large, and of course we're in America, so we've been to outlet malls. That's the ones. We've been to outlet malls. We brought a few things cheap. Basically, because of him, I had to buy a whole new suitcase and check it in, and yeah, just to get him home. So, but again, couldn't resist it. And again, so 10 years ago, it wasn't that ridiculously priced. I think it cost more to check the suitcase in, to be fair, because that's how much of a rip-off airlines are nowadays. So he was in at number 3, and number 2 and number 1 are sort of joint. And number 2 is, it's a very similar to number 4, very similar to number 4. And again, it's about me being in America. It sounds like I'm here, there and everywhere, but I'm not that often. We did all these obviously before the kids. We decided we were going to go on the holidays, get them all dusted before we have kids. So in 2014 we went to Orlando as well, and yeah, so we went to do all the theme parks and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to try, no, I'll do them separately. They are the same holiday, but I'll do them separately. And again, I think I wasn't buying these at all. I wasn't too much into the Generations line. I wasn't too much into it at all. So it was definitely, as I say, 2014. And again, I hired a car, we drove over there, and we found, I don't know if it was a Walmart or a Target, and the funny thing is, and I say this a lot all the time, and especially back 7-8 years ago, we weren't getting anything. I mean, we didn't get these at all. We didn't get any of these. So when I walked into a Walmart and a Target, whatever, and they were reduced to like pittance, like $5, like absolutely nothing. And $5 at the time, the exchange rate was really good, so it would have been about £3. And whereas if you were to buy these imported at the time, they were 20-25 quid, so they were like a sixth off the price. So yeah, so I brought, and you've seen some of my rackings there, I just literally brought them on, whatever I could find literally of these, because of how cheap they were. And again, very similar to this, very similar to Omega Supreme. I had to check in another suitcase, but this is, I suppose it's borderline illegal if I'm being honest, but it was 7-8 years ago and it wasn't done by choice. I brought so much that we'd well, I'll tell you, it's quite funny. Not only did I have to buy another bag and check it in, but because we were going to Florida and we knew that we were going to buy loads and loads of stuff, we actually took over our hand luggage inside the suitcase, which is all good, but we filled everything up. We filled everything up, totally filled them up, got them home. And then, of course, this is where you realise that we've just got the normal size car that we had to, yeah, which we travelled out there in. So as we travelled out, we just had 3 big suitcases, 2 in the boot, 1 in the back passenger seat, my wife and a friend in the front, and me in the back. So there was ample space. But of course, coming back, we've got 3 suitcases, 3 hand luggage, and another suitcase that I brought and checked in. So yeah, I mean, you can only imagine. I mean, the car's a Ford Puma, so I can't relate to what that is in America. I'm so sorry. It's not like a great big saloon. It's not huge at all, but it wasn't fitting. Well, it did. It just about fit 4 suitcases in and 4 hand luggages. But I was, yeah, now this is where it's a little illegal, and I'm ever so sorry. And I'm sorry, Mum, if you're watching this, which I think she knows anyway. But I was sitting on top, sort of sprawled out like this, on top of a suitcase, because we couldn't fit any more in it. The front was okay. Bex had a big hand luggage and suitcase on the front, and I was sprawled out all over the top because my silly spending cheap, grabbing bargain habits caused me to do that. So that was number 2. Again, it's none of the older ones, it's all the newer ones that seem to get me in a bit of trouble, or they've got more interesting stories, shall we say. But this, and it wasn't just him, it was the other 3 Deluxe Insecticons as well. And this was exactly the same holiday, and funnily enough, it started out with what I've been advising you guys to do pretty much since I've started this sort of channel now, like buying things in bulk, etc. This is quite amazing, actually. I'm really, again, so privileged that this happened. So I was buying a few things from Transformerland, and again, all the stuff that we couldn't get in the UK. So I was buying, started at the beginning of the year, started about 2013, getting stuff. And I suppose for those of you who use Big Bad Toy Store, it would be known as the pile of loot. But Matthew, and I hope I spelled this or say his name, Cameretta, or however you pronounce it, I'm so sorry. He was letting me do the same thing, because obviously for shipping, it's a load of money from America. So I'd started getting a couple of Deluxe Insecticons. I think I had a Roadbuster as well. And I was just obviously paying for them in bits, and he was keeping them all for me. And then it got to the beginning of 2014, and I said, we're going to be in Florida, funnily enough. In America, rather. We're going to be in America. I didn't say Florida at the time, because I didn't know that's where Transformerland was, which you guys might not know now, but now you do. And I said, we're going to be in America in these particular dates. Just save until then, and then just post it to me. Just post it to me at my hotel. And then he replied amazingly, and I couldn't believe it. He's like, well, that's only a couple of hours from us. Why don't you just come down? And I was like, what? And yeah, literally, I mean, that's how nice he is, how nice this community is, how nice everybody is. He said, yeah, just come down. I was like, are you serious? He goes, as long as you don't mind. Obviously, it's your vacation, it's your holiday. If you don't mind, you're more than welcome. So literally, on a day when we were doing on a holiday when we were doing theme parks and everything else in Orlando, Florida. I'm not going to give his exact address, obviously. It is somewhere in Florida. One of the days we took out, me and my wife, we drove down to Transformerland. We met Matt and his family. And yeah, I was lucky enough to pick up the Deluxe Insecticons, and you know, just see the stuff that he's got. It's probably as well a bit of an inspiration for this, maybe, but mine was well on the way before then. But yeah, so there you go. So there's my top 5. Rather different. I am going to do my top 10 favourite of the year, my top 10 favourite of all time, etc. when I get around to it. But yeah, these are top 5, I suppose, more interesting stories than none of how I managed to acquire these figures that I didn't have before. So number 5 was obviously Bumble Jumper, come by complete fluke via buying an alternator. The movie 4 figures came because we went to an outlet mall in New York. Mega Supreme came because we were just doing out in Fremont Street. No plan on getting. I suppose that's the biggest thing with these, apart from him. The first 4, so 5 to 2, with ones we're not planning on getting, ended up getting such a great deal, couldn't turn it down. And this one was just amazing, ended up at Transformerland. So there you go, guys. That's my top 5s. I hope you found it interesting. Hope it made you laugh a bit as well. I'm sorry to any police officers, but it was 7 years ago, and obviously we all got home safe. No road traffic accidents occurred due to my silliness, so we say. So there we go. But yeah, there we go. That's my top 5. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, especially in this current climate again, just take care.